This is Jilliana Ranicar-Breese, and this is part 2 of my conversation with Jim Haynes in his atelier in Paris. Now, Jim, tell me about who impressed you the most as a writer, who you actually met and knew.
I guess that has to be Henry Miller.
Right? And why? Why?
Well, I liked him as a man, and as I guess I could call it as a friend, although I only knew him briefly.
How old would he have been at the time when you met him?
Oh, he must have been 60s.
And you were?
I was probably in my 40s.
Okay, so he was a good 20 years older than you.
Yeah.
And you met him in San Francisco, did you say?
No, I met him in Edinburgh is where I first
Oh,
met
Edinburgh.
him. Yeah.
Right, right.
Where I spent a week with him in Edinburgh.
Right.
But later I met him in Paris and in California, but really a suburb of LA.
Yeah, yeah.
Pacific Palisades.
Oh yes, a very good address, yes. And you were around, of course, City Lights bookshop, so you would have known Ferlinghetti.
Yeah.
And was he a friend, or?
I guess so. I guess I could call him a friend.
And did you go to the readings there? And
no, I knew him mainly in Paris.
oh, so he also lived in Paris, did he?
I don't know if he ever lived in Paris, but he came often.
Yeah. And Ginsberg?
Also, often.
Yeah. And was there anybody else in that sort of era?
Yeah, the whole beat scene, I mean...
Well, that was your era, wasn't it?
Really.
And you had long hair.
I guess so.
Long black hair.
I guess so.
Yeah, yeah. How long did the beat era last, do you think?
I think the 50s. And it evolved to another media descriptive word, which was hippie.
Well, beatnik. The word was beatnik, wasn't it?
Well, beat 50s, beat and hippies 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so were you both, a beat and a hippie?
I guess so. I guess so.
So you came to live in Paris, and that was 49 years ago, you said?
1969.
1969. So what was Paris like in that era?
Well, my first time in Paris was 56, I think, or 57.
Right.
But I came to Paris in 69 as a visiting professor at the University of Paris, number 8, the experimental university in Paris.
Right. And what were you teaching?
I was teaching sexual politics and media studies.
What does that mean, sexual politics?
Well, I don't know. I don't have a short meaning, but I guess I laughingly say, why does A sleep with B and not with C?
Right. Of course, today, A would sleep with all of them.
Well, maybe, maybe.
Times have changed, of course.
They have.
Of course, of course. And you've written books.
I've written about a dozen books, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you published them yourself? Or?
I self-published some of them, but some of them were published by other publishers in London and Edinburgh and other cities.
Right, right. And these soirées, when did you start those? How many years ago?
40 years ago. This year is
40 years ago?
the 40th anniversary year.
Really? And you invited people?
I invite no one.
No, they invited themselves.
Yeah.
And someone did the cooking?
Yes.
Right. And
every week a guest chef.
Yes?
Yes.
And how many people used to come?
I guess it's always been about 50, 60 people every week.
Unbelievable.
And it means that about 200,000 people have come to dinner.
Have you kept in touch with any of these people?
Many of them. Almost all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? And it's funny because when I lived in Paris, from 1977, I didn't know about you and your soirees at all.
Oh.
It was only after I'd left, I think someone must have, and I came back to Paris, you know, to visit, and somebody must have brought me, I suppose. But I certainly didn't know, I mean, I wish I had, but it didn't happen. Yeah. And, well, I would like to come to live back in Paris, but not full time, but spend a lot more time. Paris is a city you can always come back to. You know,
Sure.
It feels it's my spiritual home. Yeah, and there's wonderful people who live here,
True.
like you, Jim.
Well, thank
Anyway, lovely to see you again, and I wish you luck.
you. Good.
Bye.
Bye, dear Colin.